Hi. I brought some refreshments. I'll put this one down here. So it's been an interesting week for me. I came out to San Francisco. Came out to San Francisco and got my first tattoo. My wife called me sexy pants on Facebook. And I learned in the past couple of days that New Relic is about the best company to work for. So I'm going to come out and see Lou soon and put in an application. So I'm going to talk about innovation in mobile, and phones and iPads. And I know what you're thinking. What the fuck does the homeless guy know about innovation? But I've been reporting on Apple and technology for 19 years, almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years next year. So I reported on Apple when Apple wasn't cool, when Apple was beleaguered and they were going to be bought by Disney. And that's kind of funny now looking back at what happened. But so I've seen a lot of things happen over the last 20 years, a lot of technologies that never actually made it out into the world. And there's a lot of different types of innovation in mobile that I'm going to talk about. But I wanted to start off with this. That is my son and daughter, that's their first phone. iPhone, the original iPhone. Very first one. Didn't have apps, didn't have good data connection, didn't really have a lot of what we expect now. But it did change the way we think about what we do in mobile. Now, in comparison, that was my first phone. And I showed my kids that phone, and they said, "How do you text on that?" Well, no, you didn't text on it. Well, how did you upload pictures? No, there's no camera. Well, what's the point? And I realized that people today communicate differently than what I used to. I mean, I was lucky to get, 10, 15 minutes on a phone and enjoy a phone call. This phone led to everything that we have today. And as much as we look back at that and laugh, and I laughed when I was putting it in the presentation, that's why I had to make the big boom and everything. But it changed everything for us. And it was a very innovative product. Now, like most innovative products, it led to the death of some other things that we used a lot at that time. And, the most obvious one is the phone booth. I mean, let's face it, if we see somebody in a phone booth now, they're making a ransom call. It's got nothing to do with communicating with somebody other than to get the payout. And it's that big brick of a mobile phone that led to the demise of this. I remember how excited I was when they would put the phone booths at the same height as your car window, so you could just drive up and drop your dime or quarter in and make a phone call from your car. Oh my God, that was amazing. And now there aren't any phone booths. Take a walk around town. There's just nothing there because it's not something we use. It's gone. So innovation leads to a new way of doing things. I never usually go that long without a drink. Uh-oh. That's innovation, like the original phone, that big brick, led to a new way for all of us to do things. And unfortunately, some things go away, but that's a good thing because that's what pushes us forward. It's smart people like people at this conference that consumers rely on to come up with these ideas and the innovative thinking. The changes that we've seen, they're complex changes. Some of them are simple changes. I mean, we've gone from a world where we call people, we went to a world where we email people, and then it was chat, and then it was text messaging. Now people communicate with pictures on Instagram. You know, they don't even have to say anything. They just upload a picture and everybody comments on it, but it's a form of communication that we didn't have before. I think one of the biggest things is that innovation is about solving problems. The iPhone solved a problem that we have in getting rid of a keyboard and having a touch screen, and it was an innovative way to do some of the things that we've all done before. But we wanted a better way to do it. It was about removing some pain points that we all had. I mean, let's face it, a flip phone or a BlackBerry, as innovative as the BlackBerry was, there was room for it to move. They just didn't push it forward. And now they're circling the drain. And it's really their own fault. I mean, I had a BlackBerry before the iPhone. And I did an interview right before the iPhone came out, and I said, if the iPhone can't match at least what my BlackBerry can do, I'm not going to switch. Because ultimately, it's about getting things done. That's what we all want to do, is to get things done. And looking back now, you may look at the original iPhone and say, well, that wasn't really that innovative. But considering how it changed what we do, we know that it was. And I'm going to use Apple quite a bit in this talk because that's what I've covered for so long. But the tech press has railed on Apple for the past couple of years because they say that they're not innovative. They've stopped innovating. But what would have happened if Steve Jobs had have come out in 2007 and introduced the iPhone 5S as the original iPhone? They would have hunted him down as a witch, because there's no way for us to get from where we were in 2007 to where we were here. The innovation has been there all along, and it's not just Apple. Every company out there is coming up with new ideas and new way to do things, and we've made that leap. But innovation isn't just about these giant products, these giant things that come out once a generation. Sometimes innovation comes in the form of solving problems we don't even know we have. And that's where you guys are smart enough to see a couple of years ahead, and you can solve a problem that as a consumer I don't know. I don't even know I have it. And that's what we rely on for you for. Now, I think a perfect example of that is Twitter. Who knew that I had a problem communicating with 140 characters? I didn't know that I had that problem. Twitter did. And when I first saw Twitter, I thought, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. I looked at my Twitter profile yesterday, and I have 67,000 tweets now. So Ozzy and I are doing pretty good on the Twitter front right now, although there's probably a whole lot more. For somebody that didn't want to have anything to do with this new technology, I've embraced it. I've embraced it in my personal life. I've embraced it in my business life. It helps me out a lot, and I recognize that. I still don't do Instagram. I don't. My kids do Instagram. I don't do Instagram. And Facebook, I do Facebook. But my wife calls me sexy pants on Facebook, so I can't have too many people going and seeing that. When you look at Twitter now, as of March of this year, they had 200 million users sending 400 million tweets a day. That's innovative. They change the way that we communicate, all of us. Is anybody here not on Twitter? 1. 2. Well, you're missing out. I've actually seen more breaking news on Twitter in the last several years than I have anywhere else. Not CNN. CNN always gets it wrong these days. It's kind of funny to watch it because they name the wrong mass murderer, and but Twitter is a form of quick communication, and that's what we seem to want these days. We're so into things. We're looking at our phones and we're going through Twitter and we're not going to sit down outside this room, grab a coffee, and reading a newspaper. Everything has changed. So, innovation is probably one of the most misunderstood words that we have in the last 5 years. It's been thrown around so much and misused so much, and I believe misunderstood by so many people, that we've decided to really stop using that and misuse disruption. We'll substitute disruption for innovation because everybody knows that innovation is screwed up and nobody does it. And not satisfied to ruin 2 words in the English language, we throw in revolution as well, and a revolutionary product can come out. I don't think we really care anymore. We don't care anymore about the words. We care about how they're going to change our lives. And it's these types of small things that really lead to the disruption. It's not the people that are necessarily making it, it's the people that use it that determine whether a product is innovative or not. I mean, when the iPhone was first released and it sold, millions of units, it was us that determined whether that was going to be a successful product. Why didn't we stay with BlackBerry? Everybody had a BlackBerry at that point because we recognized that there was a change coming. And we jumped on that because it made things easier for us. And that's what innovation has to do, or disruption, or revolution. And there's very few products that can fit all 3 of those words. I mean, they're very descriptive words. We're using them interchangeably these days, but they're very descriptive words. And when you look at the number of products that can fit all 3 of those, I mean, Nintendo, they changed the video game market. They changed the way that, I remember going down to an arcade. My son doesn't go to an arcade. They get online and play over the internet. And they have a great time. I go up and say, why don't you go out, do something? I don't now, because he's 18 and he's 6'4" and has this big burly beard. So, I'm starting to get afraid of him at this point. But I used to, when he was smaller, say, well, why aren't you out with your friends? Well, they're all online here with me. And you look at the screen, and there's just this long list of people that he's playing with. So Nintendo, Xbox, that's all changed the way that we do that. The iPhone has certainly changed the way that we do it. And I think that can probably fit all 3 words of that description, but there's very few that can. A revolutionary, disruptive, innovative product, one of the characteristics that I think those products all have in common is that it changes the way that we look at doing things and that we think about doing things. It's not just, oh, here's something that's cool. There's a lot of cool products out there. You go to any gadget store or any Best Buy and you're going to see a lot of cool products. But they don't really change the way that we think about doing something. And I've seen over the last 20 years a lot of great ideas from people that would come to me and say, look, I have this thought about something 2 years down the road that I think is going to happen, and I have a solution for it. And I love talking to people like that. It's like sitting outside these doors, and even on the bus last night, going to the Cake concert, and listening to people talk. And they say, I have this problem. And I'm thinking, that problem doesn't exist yet. And it's great to see so many smart people sitting down at a table and trying to hammer out a solution for a problem that's not there. And I'm thinking, this is innovation right here. They're going to come up, that table is going to come up with a solution to a problem that everybody out on the street doesn't know that they have. And that's what it's all about. Unfortunately, some of the innovation over the years is spoiled by this. I've had some very smart people come and explain these ideas, and even though I can't think as many years as they can ahead and come up with solutions to these problems, I understand where they are. So if they come and say, here's the idea that I have, and I say, if the world is going where you say it is, this is a great idea. A couple months later, they come back and say, we've got some delays, we have some investors, or we have, I hired some people in the company, and everybody has to have their input, their say. Come back 6 months later, and we're delayed. Now we're over here instead of where we were with this vision of a great technology. And the original thought gets crushed under the weight of having so much input from so many people. And I remember asking one guy, it was about 10 years ago, if you were left on your own, would you have added all of these new things that everybody wants to add? And he said, no. I said, then why are you doing it? It sounds nothing like what you originally were so excited about. And now he's hanging his head, and he's not happy with what he's doing anymore, not happy with the idea, and not even sure that it's going to solve the problem that he set out to solve. And the idea ended up never even making it to market. And since then, there have been, a number of other ideas that have solved the problem that he was trying to solve. And I think if you look at a lot of the bios that we see for the great technologies that we have today, you'll see that a lot of them will say, original founder of this company back in 1997 or 2000, and you've never heard of the technology. You've never heard of the company. It just goes away. If you're not willing to move forward, other people are going to be there, and they're going to take it forward for you. And one of the big misunderstandings I think that people have is that you have to be first to be innovative. And that's just not true. You don't have to be first. I think you have to be right. You have to be solid in your ideas and your execution of those ideas, but you don't have to be first. There were MP3 players out before the iPod, but the iPod captured 90% of the market. Microsoft has had tablets for a decade, and they sucked. But Apple came out with an iPad, and it became popular because it addressed the concerns that we as consumers had. We wanted something that was mobile. We wanted something that would fit our lifestyle, whether we were working or in a park with our kids. That's why it sold. That's why it continues to sell. The iPhone is the same way. Being first means that you're first. That's all that it means. The Galaxy Gear is the first modern smartwatch. I'm not so sure it's as good as Dick Tracy's, but it's the first modern smartwatch that we have now from a big company. You have Pebble, you have all kinds of different innovative products that are trying to do things. This doesn't do anything. I would argue that a lot of them actually don't do anything. It connects to your phone. All it does is add a step to what you want to do. I'm thinking when I saw it, why don't I just take out my phone? Why do I want to look on this tiny little screen on my arm? I can't see as it is. I mean, I'd have to get somebody else to hold it out there so that I'd be able to see it. I don't want that. It's a step that I don't need to take as a user. So there's nothing there for me. If you ask yourself, as a mobile user, if you could make a wish list of features that you would like to see on a smartwatch or some kind of wearable device, would this meet those expectations that you have? I'm willing to bet it wouldn't. Everybody that I've asked that have come up with a list, when you compare it to what this does, it doesn't meet those expectations. So the only reason to release something like that is to be first, not to be right. I don't think that they believed in the vision of releasing this. And that's what innovative people do. They believe in the vision and the problems that they're going to solve. Now, Samsung maybe took too much from tech sites. Tech sites were saying, release a smartwatch. Apple's going to release a you need to release a smartwatch. So Samsung releases a smartwatch, and then the tech sites hate it. I don't think that there was one good review. And this is coming from a product that they asked for, and Samsung delivered. So where are we going with mobile? I mean, we have the phones, we have the tablets, we have computers now that'll last 10 or 12 hours. So what's next? What am I looking to you guys for, the smart people in this world, to deliver great products for the dumber people in this world? I think that at this point we are looking at wearable devices, and that's where the smartwatch came in. But I don't think the smartwatch is it. So if I look at what do I want from a wearable product? What do I want an innovative product to be? I think first, in order to answer that, we have to realize that the concept of mobile is changing. If you look back at that big brick phone that I put up at first, mobile then meant that I didn't have to stop at a phone booth. I was mobile. I could actually make a call, probably in 3 areas of the city, but I could make a call. That was mobile. Mobile now and mobile in the future is not going to be a matter of me being able to do things here. I can take out my phone here and check my email and make calls and upload to Twitter and everything. Mobile to me in the future could be my kitchen, could be my car, could be a restaurant. Mobile is wherever I am. And it's a big difference from where we were before, because we always felt tethered to our home, or we felt tethered to the car. But I want a wearable device that communicates with everything else in my life, that knows where I am. If I walk into the kitchen, there could be other devices in the kitchen that say, hey, Jim just walked in. He wants a beer. You could walk into your living room and say, the Apple TV comes on, or whatever device it is at that point, and say, turn this on, and he's going to watch a Boston Bruins game because the Bruins are the best. And turn it to this channel and make the settings these. And it's all communicating through a wearable device. Now, people have misquoted Tim Cook, Apple CEO, in saying that the watch is an interesting device. Tim never said that. What Tim said is that they have interest in the wrist. People interpreted that to mean a watch. But he never said a watch. So now, take that idea and go. So the wrist is an interesting part of your body for a wearable device. And I agree with that. I haven't worn a watch since I've had a smartphone. And that was probably my BlackBerry, so 2005, since I've worn a watch. So I'm not going to wear a watch. If Apple comes out with a watch, then that'd just be stupid. If it's a device that also tells time, okay, you know, I can deal with that. But it better do a lot more than that. And you know, if they have apps and things like that, that's where a lot of the developers come in. And when I praise you guys for being smart, I'm not joking. You guys are what we rely on. Now, for me, it was a lifelong dream to do Hello World. And I did it. And then I stopped because I knew that there was nothing good going to come after that for me. With all of the smart people that we have, I would ask you to listen to yourself. When I heard the people talking out around a table outside, there was no customers, there was no investors, there was nothing else going on but smart minds trying to figure out a problem. You know the problem that you have to solve, and most of the time, you're forward thinking enough to know the solution. It's just a matter of how to bridge that gap. It's like when I said about Steve introducing the iPhone 5S as the original iPhone. There's no way to bridge that gap. But you guys are trying to figure out a way to make that happen now. It's important to listen to the customers. There's no doubt. Customers are going to give you great feedback. They're also going to give you really shitty feedback. And if you do everything that the customer asks you to do, they won't like it. They will not like it. Because a lot of times the customers don't know what it is exactly they want. And that's why it takes the forward-thinking people in order to deliver things that they don't even know are a problem. You need to believe in your ideas, and innovative people believe in their ideas. There's a lot of risk involved in that, and I hope you take that risk, because I have money and I will pay you. I don't care if you're the greediest person on the face of the earth and all you want is $1 gazillion. I will give you my money if you solve a problem for me. Doesn't matter if it's an app, it doesn't matter if it's the technology inside the app telling me where the problems are, like New Relic does. It doesn't matter if it's a phone, a car, I don't care. Solve a pain point for me in my life and make it easier, and I will give you all the money you want. And I think products like the iPhone and Nintendo and Xbox and all of these innovative products, the Sony Walkman, I mean, I had several of those. I gave Sony all kinds of money, and then they stopped innovating. Now I give my money to Apple. I was talking to one of the speakers upstairs from Microsoft. I said, I have 2 Xboxes. I love the Xbox. I'm not tied to a company. I'm tied to things that work. I'm tied to innovative products that help me. Ultimately, I think what you have to do is to solve a problem and figuring out what that problem is. And I'm relying on you to do it. And there are millions and billions of consumers out there that are relying on you to do it. And whether your technology is in the forefront or it's something that's hidden behind the scenes, it should be done, and you should take the risk to do it. Thank you.